Yes, you guys, welcome back. I'm the EFC, this is Blue Lines CV, and today I'm here to bring you guys another News Daily video. Now, for today's stories, we are going to focus entirely on transfer deadline day. Hear about players that won't be signing for us on deadline day, hear about some of the loan moves that failed too, plus hear about some departures on this day as well. So we have a ton of things to break down, discuss, and dive into. To get the one quick plug out of the way first, if you like today's video, if you've enjoyed my breakdown and coverage of news during the summer period, then smash that like button. Help me get over 3,000 likes for today's video, and without wasting any more time, we start with the first positive story today, and that's in regards to Marco van Ginkel. Now, it does seem like Marco is close to making a return back on loan to PSV. This is a great personal loan move for the player because previously at his previous loan spell with the club, he was the previous captain. It's quite obvious that he is still well respected. He played a very important part in all their title winning seasons as well. And to be honest, he's a player that I have deep sympathy for. Right now, the long-term injuries have taken their toll on his body and his career, where he hasn't been able to play football due to these long-term injuries and effects. Going back to an environment that he already knows, that he's familiar with, could be the best thing to get him back to speed. Hopefully, fingers crossed, all his injury woes are behind him right now, because for me, it's such a shame that we'll never see that full potential that we knew Marco could have originally had. Now, let's not forget that when we first signed him in Mourinho's 13-14 season, Van Ginkel made his debut in like the first 2 or 3 games. So that tells you everything you need to know about how Mourinho first originally saw the player. But the injuries didn't help you guys, so hopefully things work out smoothly for the player. It's a great loan move and he gets back to full speeds. We now move on to the second story today, and that's in regards to an international call-up for Reece James, who is now going to join the England national team. Now, Reece James has replaced some injured England players in your Raheem Sterling's, so finally, and for me this is deserved, Reece James finally gets the opportunity to potentially get his debut playing for England. Now, I'm hoping that this is going to be a success. Reece is one of those players that when you watch him perform and train, when you see his mentality, his focus, his hunger, his drive, and his professionalism on top of that as well, he is someone that managers love. We know that with the national team right now, we do have some issues in midfield. Now, we know that Reece James can play in midfield. We haven't got to see that side of him too often, but for the sake of the national team, could even be a surprise choice and selection playing in midfield. It would be interesting to see. It would be interesting to see how Southgate does decide to use him, because right now at right back, honestly, it's unfair. It's unfair the amount of quality we have. The quality that is up and coming too, and the quality that has been there previously. I mean, right now, Kyle Walker, Trippier as well, Arnold, Wan-Bissaka, Reece James, Lamptey. You can go on and on and on with the quality at our disposal. But for me, I do think that Reece James does have that class to be a key player for the national team. And maybe if it means that getting game time at the right position might be harder, Reece is a football player that can benefit a team playing in other positions. So you guys in the comment section below, how do you feel? Do you think that Reece James might make his debut? Let us know below. And to end things with the final segment, we're now going to focus entirely on deadline day news. Now, we start off by speaking about Antonio Rudiger. Now, with Rudiger, he has so much interest from clubs in this country and from clubs across Europe as well. He seemed destined to be leaving, especially due to the interest, especially because so many clubs are interested in signing a centre-back too. And with Rudiger, he has that international experience, he has that league-winning experience, and of course, he's a player that has played in the highest level in football. So, on that basis, you'd assume that he'd be one of the easiest players to let leave on loan. But you guys, at this point in time, it does seem like Rudiger won't be going anywhere. It seems like he is going to remain here, and this does mean that currently we will have 5 centre-backs at our disposal until the January window. At this point in time, what does it mean? Does it mean that we could potentially sell a Christensen or a Zuma? Of course not. If anything, it seems like there could be a sacrifice made in Tomori being forced to leave on loan. Now, for me, this is particularly disappointing. And I'd imagine that Frank Lampard would be very frustrated himself due to the fact that, of course, Rudiger isn't in his plans and he wanted to work alongside Tomori, who could have benefited working alongside your Thiago Silvas and getting opportunities throughout the season. I'm not too happy about that, you guys, and ultimately it comes down to our unwillingness to work and actually negotiate with Tottenham. Tottenham right now, one of the main clubs showing the strongest interest. You know, their efforts to sign Skriniar from Inter Milan, they've been rebuffed and turned down. And, you know, based on the previous reports that I've been covering, it seemed like they were a dead cert to sign Rudiger. It does seem like our previous relationship history with them is the main reason as to why we don't want to do business with them. But at the same time, I guess the club's bluff, their plan, their strategy, it didn't work this time. Clubs like Roma, who showed great interest in signing Rudiger back as well, they aren't interested either. Paris Saint-Germain decided against signing him too. And of course, with clubs like West Ham showing interest, they did not attract Rudiger in the first place. So it seems like he will be forced to stay. I'm going to be interested to see his response. Obviously having to, you know, potentially play a part in the team as well. How is he going to cope? How's the dynamics going to be like too? You know, this does paint a very similar story for today's videos in regards to the amount of players we expected to leave that are still going to remain at this club. Right now, Rudiger's situation seems to be very precarious. At this point in time, ideally, the player prefers to sign for Tottenham Hotspur, which makes a ton of sense because he gets to stay in London and of course play for a big Premier League club. Who knows, at this point in time, things do seem 50-50, but there is a very strong possibility that Rudiger is going to remain with the squad. You guys in the comments below, how do you feel about this? Do you feel like the club have fumbled things? Are we asking for too much money? Are we being too unrealistic with our demands? Let us know below. We now turn our attention to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who we've known for the past few days that, you know, he is very likely to leave on loan before this window ends. Now, one of the massive stumbling blocks in regards to Ruben actually getting that, you know, that clarity in regards to whether he is going to sign for a club on loan comes down to how much money Ruben would actually cost. Now, we know that he signed a wage packet that is 150k per week. That tells you everything you need to know about the club's faith and trust in the player, especially because he earned that contract due to the big performances in the second half of Sarri's season. At this point in time, though, it does seem like Ruben needs to get those consistent minutes. For me personally, I find it quite difficult. Ideally, I prefer to keep Ruben here, be patient and hope that, of course, over time when opportunities do arise, he will get back to his full speed, because for me, it is better to work alongside his new teammates and with better players. But at the same time, this could be the strategy at place. That means that Ruben needs to be in an environment where he can play consistently, because with Ruben, it's been known for a long time that a player like him, he needs a good run of games, a good handful of games to be able to get back to full speed and full momentum. The question is though, Fulham, they're the most realistic club, the most likely club, the most favourite club at this point in time to sign Ruben on loan. And I'm just thinking immediately, you guys, yes, I get the benefits that Fulham is literally like, what, 10-15 minutes away from Stamford Bridge. In the same location, he can still go to the club when he needs to. You know, and at the same time, he would work alongside guys like Aina and other players he's worked with back during his youth days as well. But for me, you guys, Fulham are the favourite to get relegated this season. Their strength of midfield isn't the same. I feel like their attacking players aren't perfect either. And I'm worried that Ruben's reputation could be ruined if he was to sign for Fulham, they get relegated, and of course he becomes the natural scapegoat because a player from Chelsea couldn't keep Fulham up. I can see it happening. I don't know, I don't feel too great about this, you guys. I don't feel too confident. I don't even think Fulham's style of football could get the best out of him. And I have this fear in my head that Scott Parker will decide to use Ruben on the wings or like in wide midfield areas instead of using him as a number 8. Right now, it's not just about minutes. It has to be about quality of minutes. Quality is the most important thing because, you know, quality will determine whether Ruben could have a future at this club. Ideally, I'm still hoping he stays, you guys, but if he does go, very reluctantly, I would understand that if Ruben decided himself that this was what he wanted and this was the best decision he could make for his career. So you guys, that's the story in regards to Ruben on transfer deadline day. We now continue on. We found out today that Malang has officially signed for FC Porto on loan. Now, I remember telling you guys previously that it seemed like Bayer Leverkusen were the favourites to sign. At the point in time, they were, but in football, in this market, things become different, things change, and that's how things work. I do think that FC Porto, that is a very interesting league to go to. Of course, making the move from League 1 to the Portuguese league, is it the best? I'm not too sure, but at the same time, when you're playing for a club like Porto, they do have a great team. They do have some great young players. They do have, a very strong reputation in their country as well. And I think with the fact that they're also playing in Europe too, this could be the perfect learning experience for Malang to get used to a different environment. A football style that's a bit similar to ours as well, and of course the potential for European experience. So, you know what, this could be an interesting move. The player seems happy. The player came out after the interview saying that, you know what, I have ambitions to become a Chelsea first team player. Making this move to FC Porto puts me on the right path to get to my final goals. So he's got the ambition, he's got the potential. Let's see how this goes, you guys. We now move on to Emerson, and it does seem like his proposed move to Juventus has fallen through. Now, what's been the main reason for that? It comes down to finances, and again, throughout this entire window, it seems like we've been pricing out clubs way too often, and of course, it's been costing us in the end. Now, I can understand the strategy. When you wait till the final day of the window, is this way you can, you can fight for what you want. You can have a stronger opportunity to get the demands you want, but at the same time, this is a game of poker. There is huge risk to play, and I feel like our gamble in maybe potentially delaying things till the final few days has definitely worked against us, and it's been one of the main reasons as to why we haven't moved out as many players as we hope to do. Now, what does this currently mean? Is Emerson going to find a loan club in time? We can't have Marcus Alonso, Ben Chilwell and Emerson here at the same time. That would be absolutely crazy. Something has to give, and I feel like the club have to start taking a few small L's, accept the losses, because right now, the squad balance, that is the most important thing. A happy squad will lead to a potentially great squad, and when those components are together, intertwined, working in full effect, you guys, that's when we can really see how this season is going to pan out. But we now move on from Emerson, and we now turn to Jorginho, Declan Rice and Thomas Partey to end with the news reports for today, you guys. And it seems like Jorginho could be staying, and that's due to the fact that Arsenal are currently the favourites to be signing Thomas Partey on deadline day. Now, can I say that I'm particularly frustrated? I can't say so. I think Partey is a good player. He definitely is, but for me, I do feel like if we're patient, we can find better solutions in the market. I'm looking at players like Zakaria. I'm looking at players like Sumari. I'm looking at players like Declan Rice as well. I feel like they could be more important for us because these guys can move the ball, start attacks and play between the lines a lot better than Thomas Partey can. At the same time, I'm not too frustrated. We've got N'Golo Kante still here. I guess Jorginho and Kova can have their usefulness, hopefully, and I want to see some improvement if Jorginho is going to remain here. It did seem like maybe Arsenal were, definitely working on something when news came out earlier this month that Guendouzi had signed for Hertha Berlin on loan. So that was telling us, could Jorginho potentially be making a move to Arsenal? Wasn't to be the case, you guys. It seems like Thomas Partey is going to be their man, and Jorginho is going to remain here. Again, this squad balance, this midfield balance, is it really here? I'm not too sure, you guys. But to end with my closing thoughts on Declan Rice. As I've been proposing for a very long time, do not be surprised if we're going for a new bid in the January window based on the fact that West Ham right now do not want to sell and they are playing hardball. This has been a reality that we should have accepted for a long time, and West Ham have been very adamant that they won't sell Declan below the fee and their valuations. So I get that, it's how the industry works, and right now, as we've proven throughout our entire window, we aren't going to sign backups and panic buys if we can't get our main priorities. We aren't here to do that business anymore, you guys. It's cost us time and time again, and as I've been saying for a long time, don't be surprised to see a January move made for Declan or a potential summer move made instead. It'll be interesting to see how West Ham season progresses and continues on. I mean, right now, they are surprising me. They are playing very well. They're looking very good. So it's understandable why this deal did not happen on the final days. But Lampard still has big plans for Declan. Declan wants to sign for us. It feels like this will be a case of having to remain patient and wait for the perfect time to get this deal done. But there you have it, you guys. That was transfer deadline day. If any big news comes out later tonight, of course, expect to hear it first on Blue Lines TV. But on that note, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. I'm the FC. This is Blue Lines TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.